Shamila Sentwali, 2111 North Pyatt, also Wichita, Kansas 67214, also PO Box 571, Accra, Ghana, West Africa, my residence. I'm here because I want to deal with police shootings, the issue of police shootings, and try to offer some solutions. Time is going to go quickly, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on the stats. I think everybody knows that there's been an escalation of police shootings of African men, black men, and women across this country, and especially here in Wichita, Kansas. The stats are showing, research is showing there's more killings per capita in terms of our population in Wichita, Kansas, compared to Chicago, Illinois, and even New York City, which is unbelievable. But this is what we know about. I don't want to take up time because the time really clicks, but I feel sometimes that their names need to be mentioned, but I won't do that. Maybe someone else will be mentioning their names. But I need to make one comment regarding the shootings that have happened since 2010 until now. The Burlington situation, I think we know that there must be some trained team, because it's interesting. It's not only in Wichita but across the country, because now there's been several instances where there's been white young men with rifles, guns, and so forth, and the officers have dealt with them hours and hours and hours. I'm talking about in the streets. Burlington situation, for those that don't know or have amnesia, just a year or so ago or whatever, a young man, Jake Jacobs, 27 years old, held 20 people hostage inside of Burlington's coat factory on East Kellogg. 20 people fired a gun at the security guard. Judge Ben Burgess gave him 60 days in work release. I know people sitting in the county jail right now doing more than that for some traffic tickets. So I don't understand that. So what we want, mayor, city manager, and city council, we want police involved in questionable shootings to be charged, stand trial, indicted, whatever. And now, I know that this is what I'm needing from you, district councilwoman that we put in office, or whoever. We don't need to be going around in circles. If the police have an immunity and there's a law that says that, we need to know that. Then we won't be chasing our tails. If the police, there's a KSA, Kansas Statute Annotated 213215, that says that officers, I can't read the whole thing, obviously. I'm going to go, this is the law, this is the Kansas State. An officer is justified in using force likely to cause death, great bodily harm, when it is necessary to prevent death or great bodily harm to himself or someone else. I mention that only because several of the people who have been shot right here in Wichita, they were running away. It was in the back. They had no weapon and that kind of thing. So I'm not understanding. So that's a good question about immunity. There must be a law of immunity since 79, as far as I know, every single shooting from Bobby Jacobs all down the line to now, every single one of them have been justified. And I guess I'm just really not understanding how you can be running away with no weapon, not running from a scene of a crime, but you get shot in the back and neck, and it's justified. So I need to know, is there a city ordinance or is there a state law that actually says that law enforcement has immunity? Now, I know on civil cases, or to be civil suits, that there's an immunity, but I don't have time to talk about that. The next thing that the people want is we want, for the sake of transparency and justice, if things are done above board, why should it be a problem with names being released? I don't understand the difference. I don't understand why the police, like politicians, tend to be above the law and protected. I don't understand that. No more paid leave while they're on investigation. I am a registered nurse, bachelor prepared master's. And people, whether you are a nurse in the healthcare field, if you are a teacher, and you come under investigation, you haven't been found guilty one way or not, but still, you come under investigation, we are not paid. We're off until the investigation is over without pay. I wonder, why do they get paid? And now I need to know if the Fraternal Order of the Police, which is the union for the police, which I understand, do you guys have negotiations? And if that's the case, which one of the three things I mentioned fall under there, where there's a whole discussion that has to happen with the Fraternal Order of the Police. So running out of time, but I do want to say in Hutch, After my cousin Akaris, the vet, Marine vet who was killed after family called for help, the very next day in Hutchinson, the Hutchinson Police Department was able, another man had a gun in the neighborhood, and someone, white man, but had a rifle or something. Neighbors called. He was not firing a gun or anything. Neighbors called. He barricaded himself inside, I have the newspaper article here, inside a garage or whatever. They worked with him for over 8 hours, was able to bring him in. And then there's other cases that's been across the country in the last 2 weeks where there's been instances that they've been able to do that. But it sure is interesting when it comes to African people. That's why we tend to know, we not tend to believe, we know. There's another article and documentation. One black man is killed every 28 hours by police or regular vigilantes, regular white people. Y'all, that's war. I don't care how you slice it. There is a war. Yeah, that's fine. So I need to know how we deal with those.
Everybody else had the same time.
Miss City Attorney, would you get with Miss Sentwali so she
Now
find
we're going to talk about police.
Let's talk about the Kansas statutes and answer any questions that she may have.
So she's answering for you all? Is that what you're saying? I'm just trying to understand.
About state laws. We're not attorneys.
I understand that.
So she's gonna research that and get back with you as to why these certain things happen and what laws are actually there.
And then when do you respond? After you hear what she has to say as
When
well?
she briefs the council, then we'll know what.
So do we come back to hear response or what? I mean, I didn't just, we don't, if people just come to talk and go home with no resolve, then I don't understand. I need some.
If there's a state law, then the issue has to be handled at the state level.
Okay.
And she's going to inform us whether or not. Normally, if you see that it's identified as the Kansas statutory law, that's a state law.
I understand. That's what I said when I first stepped in.
So we have to define what those are, and they're the ones that actually change those rules. And if it's a federal law, then she will identify those things. But she'll get all of that information and.
So how do we?
But the FOP question, you guys can answer that, right? Or at least give us some clarity on that. The Fraternal Police is the union for the police, and do they deal with the paid leave? I mean, we just need to know how to, what?
That there is something that's negotiated through the labor unions and with the staff during union negotiations. So
Okay.
the manager will answer that information for you.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. The meeting, it's you and several other people, some pastors of some churches, some other people had stated that you wanted to, in front of about 800 people, I guess, at East High. Everyone up there said that they wanted to work towards a solution. Now, I'm telling you, the people who are working every day trying to live and survive can't run around and do everything and then chase down trying to get answers. If the city and the others who stood on that stage, who were talking about, oh, can this be a Ferguson? We really don't have to worry about if it can be a Ferguson. Just look in your recent past Wichita history. It can, and we're not advocating violence, but people can only deal with oppressive conditions so long, and they will respond. So all I'm saying, I hear you, Brewer.
Okay, thank you.
But there will be no peace without justice. That's straight up. Y'all leave it. That's very simple.
Councilman Williams.
Mr. Manager, so I have just a couple of questions. You are going to look up that information and get that back to us?
This is a little broader than just those issues. There were a number of issues that came up during the community forum.
Yes.
And what we've committed to do is to continue to work with the pastors. If you remember at that meeting, the mayor and I indicated that we were going to meet with the pastors, go through all of the issues that came up during the forum, and then talk about forming a working group.
We never did. The pastors cannot speak, be made our leaders. The pastors cannot speak for the people. The pastors are not the ones who have been out here trying to do what needs to be done.
Listen, Twally. We've given you an opportunity to be able to speak.
Not fairly.
And
Not fair.
But the pastors don't speak for the people.
Excuse me if I can finish my statement.
Let's finish your statement.
What we committed to do is that we would work with them in terms of identifying all the issues that came out and identifying next steps. And at that meeting, we said there would be a number of follow-up community meetings, and that we were willing to work with anyone who was willing to roll up their sleeves and come up with some real tangible solutions to some of the issues that are facing us. So we are looking at an ongoing process to address some of these issues.
Okay, so what I was looking at were the specific issues that she was alluding to. Whether that is names released, maybe some of these are legal questions, but what I would like to know is some of the answers to the questions that were just asked.
Right, and in fact, and again, those were just two of the many issues that came up during that process. And so, names released and no paid leave for those under investigation were two issues that we committed that we would talk through as well as others.
Because we raised it. I thought the pastors raised it.
And I have one more question. I know that we have a manager's review board. When is that going to reconvene?
Well, the Managers Review Board will have a hearing that it needs to finish, and then I'm going to recommend that board be put on hold until we can talk about the next steps as part of the organizational assessment and the discussion that started at the community meeting to determine whether that's the right vehicle for going forward.
And we have no idea at this time when that next meeting is going to reconvene as far as the pastors is concerned.
We've reached out to the pastors. They are trying to compile all the information that was received and committed to us that they would meet with us as soon as they got all of that compiled.
Then the next person that we have speaking of in the subject matter is Alicia.
Good morning, everyone. Let me start off by saying that all the pastors, they don't speak for everyone in the community. That's what I like. We need to know that. I love them. I'm saying this out of love for them. I came to offer some solutions, at least 3. I would like to see, and I'm sure a lot of the civilians would like to see, the city partner with a national organization called the National Association for Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement. It's called NADAC. It's a nonprofit organization that brings together individuals or agencies working to establish or improve oversight of police officers in the United States. I've already spoken to Leanna Perez, who is the operational director for this group, and she's waiting on your call. Her and the President, Brian Buchanan, they would be welcomed. They would welcome the opportunity to work with the city department to do this. There were several meetings held on September 3rd and 4th talking about branding Wichita. Wichita cannot have a positive branding until it is inclusive of the needs of all of Wichita's residents, not just the selected few. You know, there's no need to create an independent citizen review board when we already have the racial profiling board that is already established. This board should have the authority for speed powers to impact actions such as police who are involved in excessive use of force complaints and killings of civilians. The city's the city citizens review board, they don't even meet. We haven't even heard anything.
That's right.
City manager, where you at?
That's right.
The paternity order for the police. You know, it's been brought to my attention that for those in WPD that would like to weed out those bad officers who are wearing a uniform that call themselves to protect and serve, their obstacle is the FOP. Now later this year, the FOP and the city will be negotiating a new contract. And so in that contract, citizens would like to see
Yes.
these officers with a neuropsychological testing that should be required for all applicants and current personnel. Neuropsychological testing includes intelligence tests and tests for mental conditions that may impact perceptions of other people, their social behavior and judgment. I'm going to piggyback off of Shakura and what she said. Police involved in questionable shootings should be arrested, charged, and stand trial. Release the names of officers involved in questionable shootings for the sake of transparency and justice. Officers involved in questionable shootings should not receive any paid leave pending investigation with taxpayers' dollars. All police officers should be required to wear body cameras and have them placed on police vehicles. Third, diversity and culture competency training. At the community meeting, Brandon Johnson, President and CEO of CORE, stated that WPD officers should be in continued training for diversity and culture competency. Civilians are demanding that WPD officers be trained and certified in the diversity and the culture of our city. Civilians are demanding that WPD officers be trained and certified in community engagement with the community they are supposed to be protecting and serving. Civilians demand that some WPD officers look like the people in the communities which they are chosen. Lastly, it is my hope that community leaders will be able to reach out and encourage young men and young women of color to apply for positions as officers in WPD. That ends my statement. I'm here for questions if you would like to ask any questions, or two, or three.
Any questions? I will tell you that we're certainly looking at all the issues that you've identified, and certainly, as I said during the meeting, that we would get with the city manager, and we made a commitment that we would try and find the funding to be able to man up all patrol officers with cameras, and I'm committed to that. And I think council members are committed to that, and the city manager has already started working on that. And so that's a good first step, and having the community engagement and having an opportunity to be able to talk with everyone is certainly something that we're going to have to do, and we have to continue having discussion and talking with each other to be able to resolve these issues. Okay, Mary Jane?
All right, thank you.
And Mayor, I just
Okay, I'm sorry, Councilman.
hopefully we will be able to get back with you on some of the issues that have been brought up, especially after we sit down and speak with our law department and the manager. But one of the things I do want to say is I know that we have officers that attend job fairs so that we can definitely try to reach out to the community. St. Mark has a high school job fair and informational fair every year, and I know that they are there. So any organization that has a job fair that we can look for our young people to join those forces, we're always doing that. I know I see them there. So if you have other avenues for us to reach out, we would gladly do that. We need officers.
Thank you.